Hello and welcome here to La Liga Roundup, and we're into week 3. Barcelona still top the table, Real Madrid are upset again by Atletico Madrid, and the rise of Valencia and Sevilla continues as those both storm into the top 4. So it's a big weekend, it was a lot of exciting results, a lot of matches on, and La Liga again didn't disappoint. I thought there were some very, very good performances, some good results, some brilliant games really. There was some really exciting matches over the weekend, and there was some 0-0 draws as well. There was some pretty difficult games to get into as well. So we started early on the Friday night, Almeria against Cordoba, a team. It was pretty much a game when you went into it and both of them had to, they felt that this was a game they couldn't lose, because at the end of the season, Almeria against Cordoba will be one of those relegation scraps. It will be those two down the bottom fighting for survival, and it had that feel about it that both teams are going into the game thinking, we can't really lose this game, we've got to pick up the points, and in the end it finished 1-1, and they both shared the points, and pretty vital points really for both Almeria and Cordoba from that early game on the Friday. Then the first game on Saturday afternoon was Barcelona against Athletic, and it was a brilliant game at the Camp Nou. Absolutely phenomenal match. Both sides went into the game with good mindset, with good attitudes. They both went for it. There was some really good attacking play from both sides. And Barcelona really did play well. I thought they played well on the counter-attack. Their passing was crisp, it was fluid, it was very, very quick to get going. And they can be impressed with that, and Luis Enrique in particular will be very, very happy with the way that his side went about it. They were patient in their build-up. They were, they were confident as well. When it was 0-0, there's quite a big portion of the match gone. Neymar had come on, and they were still waiting to make the breakthrough, and the fans were getting a bit nervy as well. But eventually, they did make the breakthrough, and when it came, it was well deserved. I mean, Arizos had a phenomenal game for Athletic. He made some phenomenal saves throughout the match from Jordi Alba, from Ivan Rakitic, from a few times. There was shots blocked on the last ditch from Laporte and Gapegui, who had good games as well. But Barcelona made the breakthrough. 2 brilliant assists from Lionel Messi, cutting defence pass for the first one, took out Laporte. Neymar threw on goal and a very composed and clinical finish from him. Really good to see him getting amongst the goals. The second goal then came from, again, a Lionel Messi assist. A nice little link-up play with Sergio Busquets. Down the right-hand side, Lionel Messi took on a few defenders and cut it back to Neymar, who again was very calm, composed and confident in front of goal, and he stroked it home for his second goal. And it's nice to see that combination coming between those two, because if Barcelona are going to be successful this season, they're going to need to have those combinations, and they're going to need those two to be very much on form. But it was a very, very good result of Barcelona. Another clean sheet, and it's 3 from 3 in the La Liga this season so far. Next game up was Malaga against Levante, and again, Malaga at home, they've got a lot of, controversy and a bit of off-the-field problems going on. Their owner has returned, and he's apparently said, I want what you owe me, I want to take this further, and, there's a lot of things going on with the owner. Of course, he was, very much involved with Malaga a few years ago. Remember when they had that good run in the Champions League? He put a lot of money into it, brought in some big players. Rondon, one of them, they had Isco there, they had Santi Cazorla at some stage as well, and they had to sell them because simply Malaga can't afford them anymore, because the owner doesn't want to put any more money in, because he feels that he's owed some money from them. He feels that he wants to be given all of the possibilities to make Malaga, a super club, but he's not really been given that, and there is a lot of controversy there at the moment. But on the field, it was quite a boring game, and Malaga had a very, very good goal disallowed. It was onside, given offside, and struck the ball home, but it was ruled out by the assistant referee, and wrongly so, and that would have given Malaga all 3 points, and a very vital 3 points as well, because Malaga have started the season pretty strongly. They beat Bilbao in their opening game, a very good 3 points there, but they struggled last season, didn't they? They got dragged into the relegation fight a little bit, and they shouldn't be there really. They've got some decent players. They've managed to get Jordi Amrabat back from Galatasaray. He played well for them in the second half of last season, and they got Roque Santa Cruz, if he can start scoring a few goals to help them out as well. But they've got some young players, they've got some decent players there, and Malaga, I think, will be in the top half this season. They shouldn't be anywhere near relegation. As for Levante, though, they're very, very solid. They've lost Joaquin Caparros, though, which is a really, really big loss for them, because he's a guy who got them organised, he got them getting results, he got them very, very solid at the back, and again, they haven't conceded any goals today, but again, they're not really getting that strike power at the front. They're not really getting the goals to win them the games, and if they keep picking up points, they'll be okay, but you do fear for them if they start to concede goals, and there's no way back once they've conceded, because they're not good enough in front of goal. And then it was the big one, the big weekend game between Real Madrid at the Bernabeu against Atletico Madrid. A good old-fashioned Madrid derby in the capital, and it was played out quite immensely, really. Both sides going for each other. Atletico Madrid in their usual style with Simeone up in the stands. He wasn't allowed on the touchline because his ban is still going on. Banging on the windows, he was trying to get his squad organised. He really is a fantastic motivator, even when he's not on the sidelines and on the touchline giving his orders. But Atletico Madrid did exactly what he would have wanted. They were disciplined, they were good defensively, they were very, very organised. Quite unlucky, really, in my opinion, to concede a penalty when Ronaldo went down from a Sekera challenge. Wasn't really a convincing one. He did make a little bit of contact, but Ronaldo made the most of it. But it started really well for Atletico. A corner came in. We've seen it so many times in the last few seasons. You know, Atletico Madrid from set pieces. You know, it really is a brilliant, brilliant thing for them. They concede goals, you know, sometimes, but they can always bounce back through a corner, through a free kick. And they did it again here. They got a goal through Thiago, one of the smallest players they've actually got, coincidentally enough. But it was a good header home from him. And that was 1-0 Atletico. Ronaldo struck back through that penalty. A good penalty past Moy, who had no chance. And then it was the second half then, which didn't really explode. I think Ancelotti made a few bad changes. He brought on Isco, took off Benzema, and, you know, he made a strange change when the goal went in. But it was a simple goal for Atletico, it really was. Throw it on the right-hand side, landed to Antoine Griezmann. He passed it on to Juanfran in the wide area. Juanfran simply cut it back. Raul Garcia stepped over the ball, and Arda Turan stroked it home. It was literally like a training ground goal. It was such a simple finish, such a simple goal. And Real Madrid, again, really showing that they are missing Xabi Alonso, because some goals you can say, you know, that's defensive problems, that's the problem that the centre-backs not doing their job, they're not marking well enough. This was simply the fact there was just so much room between the defence and the midfield. There was a massive gap in which Arda Turan was allowed to collect the ball and just stroke it home, and it was that simple, really, and that's what they've got to do around it. They have a big problem in terms of the balance of their squad. If you look at their side, there's a massive gap between midfield and defence, where Toni Kroos and Modric are supposed to be. They feel they're attacking players, they feel they're on the offensive side, and when it comes to them being on the back foot, when it comes to players running in behind them, they're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing. They're not really sure if they're supposed to be tracking the run, if they're supposed to be deeper anyway, or if it's not really their job. And I think it's that sort of feeling that Real Madrid don't really have the players at the moment to suit Ancelotti's system. A system last season which worked so well for Real Madrid, of course, collecting La Decima and also the Copa del Rey, but at the moment they've not really got the players to fit that. They're doing things which are wrong. Sergio Ramos and Pepe are dropping ridiculously deep at times. You saw for the Turan goal how deep they were. They're not really pressing the ball. And if they're not going to have a natural centre defensive midfielder, you have to put pressure on the ball, because teams will just pick you off if you do not press high enough. And Real Madrid at the moment haven't really got it sorted. The balance seems to be wrong in terms of what they're doing, and it is a problem for them because Ancelotti hasn't got time to sort it. You know, the games are coming thick and fast, and it's Champions League week now, and suddenly then we're into week 4 La Liga, and if you drop more points, there's only so far you can go behind before you can get back into it. And at the moment with Real Madrid, it does look really, really poor for them, and they can find their way back, but it's not going to be easy. And then after the Madrid derby was sorted, we had one of the games of the weekend between Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad, and it's a brilliant start of the season, I'd like to say, from Celta Vigo. Of course, they lost their manager, Luis Enrique, in the summer, lost some of their key players. Joel, the goalkeeper, went on loan to Valencia, and of course Rafinha Alcantara returned to Barcelona. One of the great signings they have made, though, is Larrave. He was outstanding last season for Rayo Vallecano, going into double figures in the league, and he's come into Celta Vigo, and he looks a really good goal scorer. You know, he got a goal at the weekend, quite lucky how it went in, but he did get his goal. His positioning is good. You know, he's a good vocal point to have in their attack, and they played really well. Oriana is topping the Pachichi charts at the moment, the third goal of the league for him. Brilliant start of the season for him. But Real Sociedad, I'm not really sure what it is about them at the moment. They only seem to start playing when they're 2-0 down. You saw it last week at Real Madrid at the Anoeta. 2-0 down, they came back and won 4-2. Again today, they were 2-0 down, and they came back and won and drew 2-2, and they had a chance to win it as well, you know. It was a strange game because Celta Vigo really did dominate the game, and at 2-0 it looked so comfortable for them. They were stroking the ball about, they play really good football, Celta Vigo. Real Sociedad then made a few changes. Agareche came on, got his goal. It was a pretty poor save for the keeper, and it rebounded to Agareche. And then the dying seconds, it really was the dying seconds. Ball came in from the right-hand side, and poor old Johnny, the Celta Vigo defender, couldn't get out the way of it, hit him and went in, and it was really despair for Celta Vigo, because that's twice now they've been leading in games and they've gone on to draw, and it really could have been a perfect start of the season for them had it not been for a few lapses in concentration. But nevertheless, a good start for them, and Real Sociedad keeping themselves in the mix by these storming second half performances. Sunday then started with an early kickoff between Rayo Vallecano and Elche, and that was a cracker, by the way. If you didn't see that, what a game that was. 3-2 it finished. Elche in the end winning it 3-2. They went 3-1 up Elche. They started the game really, really well. They were out the blocks very, very quickly, in a side that I feel this season might actually struggle, because we saw them in the first game of the season got pretty much destroyed by Barcelona. But this game they did really well. Going to Rayo is a difficult place to go, but they started well. They were quite fearless. And they did, press on the front foot, got 3-1 up at some stage. Rayo then got back into the game, another goal from Bueno, a very, very good striker for Rayo, and he got into double figures last season as well, and they couldn't quite come back and get the equaliser. They are very, very close to doing so, but a cracking game there played out between two good sides who I don't think either of them will be going for relegation. Elche have not really scoring many goals, but you can see in this game it's possible. They got 3 goals here out of really nothing at all. Again, one of the games of the weekend comes second on Sunday. Valencia took on Espanyol live at the Mestalla, and every single Valencia game in this La Liga season so far has been absolutely brilliant at the Mestalla. The fans have been on their feet, it's been packed out, the atmosphere has been brilliant, and that's what we want to see. A guy has taken over this club, sort of, there's a lot of complications going on with Peter Lim at the moment. The guy has taken over this club, and the fans really are motivated by that. They're excited by the prospect of Valencia becoming a big time club again, fighting back to get in the top 4, and they've got some phenomenal players. I think certain players, like Diego Alves, very, very good, solid keeper, but players like Pablo Piatti and Feguli, Dani Parejo, last season under Pizzi, those players didn't really hit the heights they should have. They got talent, they've got really good talent, but they just didn't perform enough. In the final third, they were wasteful, they weren't clinical enough. This season, though, Pablo Piatti has started brilliantly, 2 goals in his opening 3 games. He's a great player. Dani Parejo, the captain of Valencia, is really starting to shield some of that responsibility. A good goal from him, and he's becoming a really good player in that midfield for them. Feguli's been very good as well. And then, of course, you look at their strikers. Rodrigo played in a more advanced position this weekend. He was outstanding in his play. He's a big part in all the goals. And, of course, Paco Alcacer, who made his Spanish debut and got his first Spanish goal last week, and here he has another Valencia goal and his second goal in La Liga this season. And with that team and with that solid foundations, they've got a very, very good side there who I feel could definitely compete for top 4. And they could possibly, even if they keep up this sort of momentum, they keep this kind of form, they could even break the top 3. I'm not sure it's quite possible yet, but certainly if they keep on the same form, the players are playing well, they're very, very fit as well, the manager's got them doing all sorts of fitness exercises in training, and certainly they're looking very, very good, Valencia. Sevilla then beat Getafe 2-0, that's a game that could have gone another way, mind you. They went 1-0 up through a Carlos Bacca penalty, second goal of the season for him already. Then it was a great save, an absolutely brilliant save. The Getafe corner came in, and it was a brilliant volley by the Getafe man. Good save though. Sevilla kept in the game by their goalkeeper, and then they made it 2-0. Another goal from Alex Vidal, summer signing for Sevilla, a second goal of the season for him. Pretty good again from Sevilla, looking pretty solid. They do miss Rakitic though. They do fail to have that creativity in the midfield. They're not always consistent in going forward, but good results. They've got some players coming into their side now. They're looking a bit more like a team. Of course, lost of key players this season. Alberto Moreno, another big loss for them. But they've got some good players, in their squad. They've got Ever Banega, Gerard Delafeu, who haven't really featured that this season, but no doubt as the season goes on, those will feature a bit more. Iago Aspas as well. But again, another side that could certainly be challenging for top 4. And then later on, there was another side that could be challenging, and that's Villarreal. They were away at Granada, and that was probably the worst game of the weekend. No real bite to it at all, no real ambition from Granada. They sat in deep, they didn't really play any at all, they didn't come out. Villarreal did try, they dominated possession, they did try and go forward, but they couldn't break down the door of Granada, and unfortunately that one ended 0-0. And the final game on Monday evening was the match that took place between Eibar and the 5,000 crowd there and Deportivo La Coruña. 1 year out of the Premier League in Spain, Deportivo, they're back now, and they got their first win of the season. And it was an interesting game. Eibar really did throw everything at them in the end. They played very well, actually. They dominated possession. They had some very, very good attacks. They were very, very close to levelling it. They looked very dangerous as well from set pieces, Eibar. But Deportivo got the goal. They got the decisive goal, and they sat on it really after they got it in the first half, and they were quite happy with that, quite happy to sit on it and see the points through. So a good start for them, good start for Eibar as well. They got 3 points, and the La Liga table at the end of the weekend it looks quite impressive. You know, Barcelona at the top, 3 wins from 3. Then you've got Valencia, then you've got Sevilla, then you've got Atletico Madrid. A big top 4. Of course, the surprise in the league table is Real Madrid, who are in the bottom half, which is really quite difficult to believe given the money they spent this summer. But a great start of the La Liga season. Some surprise packages we're seeing already, the likes of Celta Vigo coming forward and announcing themselves, and some really good performances as well from Valencia and Sevilla. Good to see that again. So thanks for joining me here on La Liga Roundup, where we've rounded up all the action from the weekend of La Liga, and I hope to see you soon, and we'll see you next week for week 4, and I'll see you very soon.